Welcome back to the return of Common Command. Today we are covering a very popular and fitting commander, Kenrith the Returned King. This 5-color do-it-all commander is extremely strong, so I want to pile on the return theme with a recursion build. As always, if you enjoy the deck, be sure to like the video and check out the TCG player link in the description below. We're going to start this deck out with some ramp. We of course have ourselves a Soul Ring, Chromatic Lantern, Rampant Growth, and Farseek, but the rest of our ramp ties more into our Reanimator build. Cards like Sakura Tribuilder, Dockside Extortionist, Farhaven Elf, and Primal Druid are strong because of the deck's ability to recur them and get their benefits multiple times. Burnt Offering is another strong ramp card that also acts as a one-time sack outlet to give us a major push on ramp for a turn. Ramping is huge in this deck as it will allow us to activate Kenrith's abilities multiple times a turn. Next, we want to make sure that we're drawing cards constantly throughout the game. Since we are a creature-heavy deck, Guardian Project, Elemental Bond, and Beast Whisper will net us a ton of cards from playing our creatures. We'll also be sacrificing those creatures, so Fecundity, Corvold Fey Cursed King, Midnight Reaper, and Grim Harrowspecs will be perfect for our game plan. Even Windfall and Ancient Excavation make the deck since they not only draw us cards but can fill our graveyard. Now, filling our graveyard is the first half of our plot to victory. We want to continuously reanimate creatures to cheat them into play and get all the benefits that they have to offer. Tunnel Vision has become one of my favorites to play. For a hefty 6 mana, we name a card and then mill our deck until the name card is revealed. That card goes on top of our deck, waiting for us to draw it. Naming something like Living Death is a quick way to fill our deck with creatures and then get them right into play the next turn. But we've got more graveyard filled with Perpetual Timepiece, Life from the Loam, Buried Alive, Court of Cunning, Mesmeric Orb, and Altar of Dementia. The Altar also acts as a sack outlet to get creatures in play back into our graveyard. With creatures in our graveyard, let's talk about how we'll get them out. First up, we have our commander. For 4 and a black, we can get a creature from our graveyard into play. It is quite costly, but it's a card we'll always have access to. To help with the cost, we've included Biomancer's Familiar and Training Grounds to reduce activation costs by 2. This will make all of Kenrith's activations cost 2 less, which is super helpful if we need to just draw a card or gain some life. We also have Seedborn Muse and Wilderness Reclamation in the deck so we can activate Kenrith on our opponent's turns. Untapping our lands is powerful and will let us play more reactively. But to get back to the recursion, we have big hitters like Living Death, Command the Dreadhorde, and Reanimate that can close out games depending on how many creatures we can fill our deck with. We're also running Marin of Clan Nel Toth, Chainer Nightmare of Death, and Wildrotha the Gravetide. Now it's time to see which big hitters we're running in the deck and want to recur. I should say that although Kenrith can give our creatures haste, this deck has no problem winning without combat damage with a few synergistic pieces. Grey Merchant of Asphodel is up first, and this one just wins games. A majority of our deck is black, so when it does enter, it's going to deal a ton of damage. If you pair this with Mikaeus the Unhallowed, we'll be sure to drain our opponents quickly. If you're unfamiliar with Mikaeus, it basically reads that when a creature dies and had no +1/+1 counters on it, you return it to the field with a +1/+1 counter. This allows us to double up on any ETB triggers when we have a sack outlet like Yawgmothran Physician out. Next we have Grave Titan, who is a huge threat that will make us tokens upon entering and attacking. It's even a combo piece if you decide to include Nim Deathmantle and Ashnod's Altar in the deck. By sacrificing Grave Titan and its tokens to the altar, you get the needed mana to activate Nim Deathmantle and bringing back the Titan, creating infinite tokens and colorless mana. The deck also includes Sir Conrad the Grim, Villas Broker of Blood, Kakusho the Evening Star, Massacre Worm, Fiend Artisan, Doom Whisperer, Combustible Gearhulk, Junji the Midnight Sky, Atushi the Blazing Sky, and Betelgeuse Witherbloom. These are all powerful creatures that have amazing interactions with one another. For example, Doom Whisperer and Villas will let us draw our deck depending on how much life we have and finish the game off with a Thassa's Oracle. However, if our plans get foiled, Elixir of Immortality will let us reshuffle our graveyard into our deck, keeping us safe from any Bajuka Bogs. Before we end off, we also have the very much needed removal and interaction. Shrinkmaw and Plaguecrafter are excellent choices of removal because we can abuse or enter the battlefield effect by recurring them over and over. But if things get too out of control, we have Damn to wipe the board. And of course, we have Negate and Arcane Denial to protect our game-winning pieces. And that concludes our Kenrith Reanimator deck. If you enjoyed the build and want to pick up some of the cards mentioned today, use the TCG player affiliate link in the description below. I'm so glad to be back on YouTube and can't wait for what is to come. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more Common Command content.